It's like they're looking at me. Ugh. They have too many eyes for my taste. Perhaps a tad extravagant. Maybe after talking to Her Majesty, we'll be needing a couple of stiff shots. So, can we ask you a few questions?
First, you have to answer us. Why are you so interested in the fate of a mere insect? Did it hurt one of your kind?
Not at all, ma'am. We were hired by someone. A widow.
Oh. So you're altruistic crusaders?
Maybe we were just bored, ma'am.
I've heard you boys have been stirring up a lot of trouble over the last 2 decades. Perhaps this time, you've delved too deep into the hornet's nest.
You think so?
We're certain.
We'll see. If you don't mind, we'd like to ask you a few questions.
Be our guest. We have nothing to hide.
Appreciate it. That's quite a throne you've got there.
Why, thank you. It was our late grandmother's 200 years ago.
Whoa, wait, then how old are you?
Do you think it's appropriate to ask such a question of a lady?
For cluck's sake, Marty.
Oh, yeah, sorry. But it is a really beautiful chair.
You're funny. We like you.
Thank the gods.
What can you tell us about the current state of the Hive?
Did you come here with paper bags on your heads? Have you not seen with your eyes?
Well, we'd like to hear it in your words.
As you wish. Since the Segregation Act, our people are suffering more than ever. We are eating ourselves alive. You may think we're being figurative, but we couldn't be more literal. We're running out of flesh, of life, of soul. But before that happens, our patience will run out.
The Segregation Act wasn't good for business either, right?
Correct. We don't want to be seen as the selfless grande dame, or everyone's fairy godmother. No. We were running a thriving business.
You mean a thriving criminal business?
Call it what you like. It was blooming, but the blossom eventually withered. Now we are suffering like everyone else. The Hive is an oil barrel, detectives, and Clawville a crazy old fool with a match in his hand.
Is the barrel gonna explode?
And with it, the old fool.
Well, thanks for your honest opinion.
Not mere opinion. This is our future, gentlemen.
Tell me, do you remember a pianist called Douglas?
He's right above us, even as we speak. He's either drinking his tears or some hard booze.
Was he really your personal pianist?
Something like that. We loved him and the way he played, full of heart. But we couldn't tolerate his erratic behavior any longer.
Who was the guy he got into a fight with?
A fiancé of mine at the time. He's dead now. Douglas. That silly little thing. He was always madly in love with us. He put that in his songs. And that's why we loved him. But he was jealous.
Jealousy is a terrible demon.
It is, Detective. It is.
There's no hope of letting him back in?
You pity him, right? I can understand that. It happened to us, too. We let him back, but he can't play or stay sober.
If we could help you with those two things, would you take him back?
Perhaps. But why would you do that? What did he promise you?
Nothing in the world. We're just trying to be good birds, that's all.
So the tales are true after all.
Well, we're talking to a living legend too, so tales can be true.
It's a deal, then. If you can find a cure for his hand and his heart, we'll welcome his return.
Thank you, Your Majesty. Are you ready to go a little deeper?
Oh, you mean you're going to interrogate us?
That's one way of putting it. I prefer to call it a controlled conversation.
Interesting. You seem like a rough, crude fellow at first glance. But underneath those ruffled feathers, you have a rather sophisticated soul.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Especially the ruffled feathers part.
Our pleasure. Well, shall we begin?
I'd be delighted. The Queen seems to like us, but that may be a simple disguise. In any case, a veteran criminal like her is probably harder to break than to open with the right honeyed words. Boost her ego. That can be a solid tactic. But either playing the good or the bad cop, nothing is impossible if you ask the right questions in the right tone.
Be forewarned, Detective. What you learn here may shake everything you've ever believed in.
You think I believe in anything? It seems your famous senses have failed you.
We'll see, Mr. Featherland. We'll see.
Please, tell us about yourself, Your Majesty. How did you become who you are?
You'd be surprised how little awareness there was in it. Things happened. Years flew by. And suddenly we found ourselves on this throne.
Lucky coincidences?
There are no coincidences, dear Inspector. We just did what we thought was right.
Right. We rarely hear that from the heads of criminal organizations, if I don't offend you.
What is right for someone, and in what situation, is subjective. We've lived our whole lives by a code of what we thought was right.
Isn't that convenient?
Sometimes it is. Sometimes the opposite.
Let's get to the point. Bodies are disappearing from the cemetery, and the clues have led us here. What do you think? Why?
You're not playing games. We appreciate that. Yes, in a way, we understand that some clues could have led you here. But those can be misleading. We know nothing about the missing bodies.
You don't know about them, or you have nothing to do with them. Big difference.
There is a big difference. We've heard things. The Great Web is everywhere. And every little bit of information makes its threads twitch. But no, we have nothing to do with them.
Someone was hit with a bottle that had the name of this place on it. Is it a coincidence?
We don't believe in coincidences, Mr. Featherland. But that doesn't prove that the perpetrator was following our orders.
It's true. It could have been a simple bum or just an angry boozer. Am I right?
For example.
Still, something's bothering me.
What?
Why the mysterious phrasing? Why didn't you just say you didn't know anything about it, plain and simple?
Because it wouldn't have been true, Mr. Featherland.
Let's say I believe you. Do you think the glass was not just a weapon, but also a message?
An interesting theory, and there may be some truth in it. As the place is well known and has been ours for decades, yes, we can see why you might think that.
So you agree that the clues lead logically here?
If it is a message, we did not send it. It would be foolish to leave a clue like that, unless it leads to a trap. Am I right?
Well, forgive the assumption, but for a spider queen sitting in the middle of the great web, setting a trap seems quite apt.
If so, you would be in big trouble.
And is that the case?
No, not yet. I like you. You're sharp and respectful, most of the time. At least, for a chicken.
You're great at insulting and complimenting at the same time.
Thank you.
Suppose I believe that it wasn't you. Why didn't you take action against it?
You still think we're the feared and dreaded vigilantes of the Hive. Unfortunately, those days are over, Inspector. The Great Web is now more of an information center than a real, viable enterprise.
But information is power, ain't it?
Indeed, it is. But much more so for a place that is not cut off from every other part of the world. We've been enclosed, Mr. Featherland. So the world is slowly but surely passing us by. Unless
you do something about it.
Yes, but that's another story. You know, the people of the Hive don't need the Great Web to express their feelings. Especially their anger.
A hive-sized rebellion, for example.
Of course, neither the city nor the crown wants that. In fact, we don't want it. But sadly, we are no longer the most powerful in the Hive. There are others who say how things are done.
Okay, if it wasn't you, then who was it? Who has the reason and the power to do such a thing?
The Golden Fang clan is well entrenched in the Hive. Thanks in part to them, much of our business is no longer, how shall we say, profitable.
The clan, huh? I heard they've been pretty quiet lately.
The fact that a criminal organization doesn't openly blow things up doesn't mean they're not very present, as you well know, Mr. Featherland. And for all we know, you and your partner are very much responsible for the existence of the clan in the first place.
Really? Please, enlighten me.
If the Wessler Empire hadn't fallen, the smaller clans that then waged war for power would never have been born. Am I right?
The Wessler Empire, huh? That was an old case, Your Majesty. If we hadn't stopped that threat, we might have been in even bigger trouble.
Oh, you really think so? That it could be worse than this? The whole city was ravaged by gangs feuding over the remnants of the Westler Empire. These gang wars have consumed all the attention of the Crown and the police, leaving nothing left for the Hive. One angry insect, fed up, committed an assassination attempt that eventually led to the Segregation Act. See? After all, it all started when the so-called chicken police put the head of the Westler Empire on ice over some petty, little, private matter.
You know, that's kind of a loose and far-fetched hypothesis.
Oh, we haven't covered everything, but you know that in the big picture, we're perfectly right.
I'm beginning to feel like you're interrogating me and not the other way around.
Oh, please don't. We didn't mean to frighten you.
Then may I continue?
We are at your service.
So, it's the Golden Fang clan that's got you and your people in a tight spot. Am I right?
We're not saying they're responsible for the disappearances. But if it wasn't us, they seem the most likely choice.
I have to agree. Are you willing to talk about them?
To a certain extent, yes. As long as it doesn't harm our interests.
Okay, then let's continue the conversation in this vein. Why would the clan need a fresh corpse? What can they do with it?
Did you say fresh? How fresh?
Well, the last one was from yesterday. Why? What do you think?
If they were old carcasses, we'd be ignoring it. But fresh meat is a different matter.
Did you say meat?
Have you seen how many insects walk around the hive, missing limbs?
We've had the misfortune to see that, yes.
The Clawvillian gourmets pay fat little fortunes for fresh body parts.
To eat them?
Well, they're not going to put them on display, that's for sure.
So you think the clan sells fresh body parts on the black market?
That could be one reason for digging up bodies. But it could be something else entirely.
Which is?
We don't know, Mr. Featherland. You're the detective, not us. But we're sure you'll get to the bottom of it.
You really do see everything. What do you think the clan is playing for? And where do they get their resources?
For the clan, hiding in the hive was a great idea. But they cut themselves off from the rest of the city with it. So they must have connections or help from beyond the walls.
Another gang? Maybe they've teamed up with someone. The Black Scales. The Furies, maybe.
I don't think so, Mr. Featherland. All the criminal organizations in Clawville are different, but they all have one thing in common. They all want absolute power. That's why they don't really ally themselves with others.
What are you implying? Who can support them from beyond the walls?
Whose interest do you think it would be to aid and abet the clan and get them here? Whose interest is it for the hive to slowly bleed itself dry? For someone who has a problem with the very existence of it.
You mean?
Yes, exactly, Mr. Featherland.
Sweet, furry, feathered heaven. You claim that the clan is funded by the crown?
We're not saying it is. But the city government is currently benefiting from the fact that the Hive is getting on with its little infighting, instead of causing trouble on the big scale. You know, peace negotiations are coming.
Well, what does that have to do with the disappearance of a few bodies of ordinary citizens? Even if it's like you say, isn't that just more fuel for the fire?
It might be. Perhaps it's for a different purpose, Mr. Featherland. That detective, that private eye, who was working on this.
Private Eye?
Frank Castellini. Or, as many called him, half-armed Frank, which we always thought was funny, because he was only one arm short of 4.
Shit. Frank.
The fool was obsessed with pursuing Mick and the clan. He discovered something significant. Maybe he found out exactly where they were hiding. In any case, it certainly pissed off the monkey. Because Mick's got a big bounty on poor Frank's head.
That's bad. That's really bad. Thank you for telling me this.
We're surprised to say it ourselves, but we're glad we could help.
You see? That's what I'm talking about. So Frank Castellini, right? We know him. In fact, I'd say we're friends.
We thought cops didn't like private eyes.
Frank's helped us out with a lot in the past, and in return, we'd turn a blind eye when he snooped where he shouldn't have.
There was a time when cooperation between animals and insects was commonplace.
I was just a chick then, Your Majesty, but my partner lived in the Hive's neighborhood for quite some time.
Oh, really?
It used to be a great neighborhood, ma'am.
If this was meant to make us sympathize with you and your cause, you've succeeded. You see, we're old and sentimental, but we're something else, too.
Beautiful.
Thank you. But that's not what we meant. We're practical, which means if you really want our help, you'll have to do something for us in return.
Seems like a fair offer. We're listening.
Frank was never a friend, nor an enemy. He's the kind of man who doesn't belong to either side. Always walking in the shades between them. But not so long ago, we had a quarrel. And he's taken something from us that's very dear to our hearts.
You want us to bring back this something?
Bring it back? No, we don't want it back. You won't be able to do that. Just tell us where it is. We'll take care of the rest.
You're being deliberately vague, am I right?
Sometimes it's best if you know exactly what you need to know. If you get the information we want, you can guarantee the Great Web will be on your side when you clash with the Golden Fang clan.
When, not if.
We have no doubt that if you follow the trail your friend Frank has set out on, it will eventually lead you to the clan's trap.
Okay, you got a deal. We'll meet again soon.
I look forward to it, detectives. But I'd hurry if I were you. Your friend Frank could be in serious trouble.
Furry hell. Frank. What has he got himself into?
Exactly what we're about to get ourselves into, partner. If you're ready.
What do you mean, ready? I'm always ready. In fact, I was born ready.
I don't mean that. I just mean, what's going on with you and Laura? There's enough shit going on. I don't want to stir up any more.
Cluck that. It's what you do best, Boss Bird. And let's keep it that way, okay? You drive, I follow, we get shot at, we survive, but just barely, and most importantly, we don't talk about personal shit. Deal?
You know, buddy, that's the best deal I ever heard.
Now you're talking.
You know, it's ironic that you're here snooping around, investigating the clan.
Because...
A few years ago, when you brought down the Wessler Empire, everything that has happened is on you.
Sorry, but I don't quite get it.
We think you do, Mr. Featherland. You're not as bird-brained as you make out. Your heartbeat gives you away.
Look, Your Majesty, I have nothing to be ashamed of. We did what we had to do.
If the Wessler Empire hadn't collapsed, all those new gangs wouldn't have risen from the ashes. Gangs like the Clan, clamoring for power to this day, forcing the city back into the Dark Ages.
Wessler was a lunatic who needed to be stopped. That's the story. Mick is another psycho who's gonna be caught. Simple as that.
Is it really that simple?
Always is.
We can't decide if you're just saying that, or if you really believe what you say, which is quite rare.
I'm happy to be the exception that proves the rule, Your Majesty. I've got what I wanted, for now.
Hey, buddy. Change of outfit?
Huh? What the fuck are you clucking about?
Honestly, I don't mind you not having that ugly rifle.
What's the chick talking about?
Marty, he's not...
I think the suit's a bit much. Somehow, it's not for your kind.
What do you mean, not for my kind?
Marty, I think they're brothers.
Oh, so he and the guy upstairs are twins?
Well done, Marty. You deserve a cookie.
Sorry, good sir. We didn't mean to offend.
Will you get the cluck out of here?
On our way. So, you are two brothers, right?
Huh? What? Nah.
Well, then?
We are not two brothers. There are 72 of us.
That's quite a family.
Your mom must have been a real angel.
What?
And tell me, big boy, do you all work in this line of work?
What line of work?
Well, you know, how can I say this?
He means, are you all criminals?
Do you really want to get beaten up that badly? What the hell are you, suicide chickens?
Funny, your brother asked the same thing.
Just get the cluck out of here.
Pleasure talking to you.
Huh? Anything else?
Oh no, nothing. We're going.
What? Need something?
No, we're good for now, thanks. We met your brother.
Which one? There's a few.
Just as cute as you are, only he's got a stick instead of a gun.
Oh, yeah. Brutus. The brains of the family.
Really? Wow, I never guessed that.
What's that supposed to mean, huh?
Nothing at all.
Yeah. I'm watching you, chicken shits.
Oh, you again. You're still alive. That's good to see. Did you find out what you wanted?
As a matter of fact, we did. It's a surprise to us too, but maybe more than we wanted.
That's really good to hear. But still, you know, a lot of the truth that comes out of the Hive is unlikely to be true anywhere else.
I don't get that.
I think I do. Different laws, different rules, different truths.
As the top detective says.
Thanks, Bart. We'll keep that in mind. Hey, old bird. We spoke to the Queen.
Ah, good for you.
She'll welcome you back if you stop drinking and heal your hands somehow.
Well, it's easy for you to say. Nice outlook, but it would take a miracle doctor to do that. Someone who knows bones and medicine almost like some ancient shaman or something. Someone who's not even afraid of the other side. The occult, even. Someone who...
Who?
I think we're on the same page here, Boss Bird.
Yeah. Bubo.
Who?
Exactly. You'll find out soon enough, pal. Just hang on tight. We'll be back.
So be it, Boss Bird.
Hey, only this meat wagon can call me that, okay?
Okay, whatever.